We own a multi-purpose hall big enough for a car to be driven in. Making the best of a physical space and virtual streaming to bring you to the next level. To me, everything has a solution, no matter how complicated the situation is.
The music industry has changed in the past few months. The new normal has caused so much hardship. But don't worry, the new technology that we have developed can solve a lot of this problem. The solution, do it with virtual live streaming.
Reno, is there anything else a singer can do?
Yes, of course.
Internet no good? Okay, I go offline.
I have my own live streaming, catering for customers to shop online while being entertained. You are always welcome to watch my live streaming channel, The Shopping Station, 购物火车站.
Give us a call and let's have coffee and talk.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here with us this evening. As you can see, I've got this beautiful lady here. She's none other than Cindy Ong, and I am, ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Lim, who is sitting in for Alan. Yes, today it's a beautiful day. I know that all of you are having your public holidays, and you guys are enjoying your dinner at the moment, especially for those who just booked up puasa at about 7 something just now. Well, selamat buka puasa to all our Malay friends. But ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are here this evening because we've got some great topics that we'd like to touch on this evening. And yes, Cindy will be here to talk about that. But before that, I need you guys to do me a favor. Can you please do share this particular talk show, which is the Heart to Heart talk show, for your friends online on Facebook or whether on YouTube as well. So ladies and gentlemen, if you do have any questions as well, please do also write at the comment section, because today we have quite an interesting topic which is not very easy to actually talk about publicly, but we'll get to that very, very soon. So who is this beautiful lady? Well, she is Cindy Ong, and I'll let her introduce herself to you. So ladies and gentlemen, Cindy Ong.
Well, first of all, thank you very, very much for inviting me to the show. I'm Cindy, ex-national swimmer, well, mother of 3, and currently, well, I won't say currently, but before the pandemic, I was swimming, and I was the first Malaysian to win 5 golds in the World Masters Championship in the sport of swimming.
Not an easy feat, definitely not easy feat. I mean, come on, guys. I think she should definitely be given a round of applause for her achievement. It is not something that is easy. I mean, she's also an Olympian, by the way. But of course, a lot of people like to understand, you know, what does it mean to be an Olympian? I mean, we hear that it is a dream to most athletes.
Yes.
But what really, you know, what did you really have to do, or I should use the word sacrifice, to become an Olympian?
I think it's actually the mindset. It's the mindset. So since I was young, just like any other athlete, I was, you know, the goal is just there, and every single athlete in the world, I think that's the standard that you set for yourself, and I want to get there, and I just want to train hard to get to become an Olympian. And so what did I have to sacrifice? I think the entire life revolves around training.
Wow.
So your food, your social activities, like you know, when kids are growing up, no cycling, no rollerblading, because you know, I risk falling down, and if I hurt my knee, then I cannot go swimming, you know, stuff like that. Just the risk mitigation, and you basically your whole life is you know, it revolves around.
It's just around swimming, right?
Yes.
So when you're young, you know, I mean, for those who are you a KL girl or
Ipoh.
Ipoh Mari?
Ipoh Mari, yes.
Okay. All right. So because you were in Ipoh, then you became a national swimmer. Did you have to shift here to KL yourself, or you could train?
I was training in Ipoh, and then I moved to KL for about 8 months or so. I started training here in the national team, and then I went back to Ipoh for about a year, and then I trained in the States for 4 years.
Wow. So you had a good experience in the States as well.
Yes, absolutely. I actually credit my training in the US a lot. You know, they
I mean, a
got me
lot of
to where-
swimmers, great swimmers come from the US, right?
Yes, and a lot of the world's great swimmers actually come from the US. Just I wouldn't say that the US is like really good in swimming, but what they do have is actually a great ecosystem. So schooling and everything just comes together.
Yep.
And sports is I wouldn't say sports is emphasized, but it's integrated into the entire ecosystem, which
Yep.
I think Malaysia still do not have at the moment, and I think the other parts of the world also do not have at the moment.
But I mean, in the States, it's very much part of their culture, isn't it?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, Malaysians is not part of a culture, so that's why you don't emphasize very much on
Sports. Yeah, so when you do sports at the age of 8, 9, 10, and then you drop off, UPSR or certain exams you drop off, and then you start focusing more on academics, and you see kids studying and having tutoring all the time. But in the States, I guess it's a little bit more balanced, and the whole ecosystem allows it to be balanced. Like for instance, when I was in the States and I was doing classes, it was possible for me to take classes at night if so one course they won't tell you that, okay, this is the time that you need to take the classes. They will tell you, okay, there are 5 different professors teaching the same thing, and these 5 different professors have different time slots. So you pick which one suits you, and you can actually take classes at night if the class that you want, or maybe one of the classes clashes with your training time. So you can
basically you need to be self-disciplined.
I would say that you schedule, basically as a student in the US, you scheduled your school around swimming.
Oh, okay.
You
Okay.
get that flexibility
Okay.
to schedule your classes around swimming, around your training schedule. And I can just plug in swimming with any other thing, any other sports or work, for example. So if
Okay.
you are working and you're a working mom and you need to do something, you can basically schedule your training revolving around your life.
Okay, so you just mentioned that. I mean, we just discussed that Malaysia it doesn't have that culture. Now, you as a mother, do you encourage your children to do that? Would you also help them to schedule their education or even their classes around their passion in sports?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you have 3 children, sir. So what are the passions that they have? actually?
Swimming.
Oh, swimming as well. Okay. All right. So I guess it's part of the DNA, right? Okay. Good. Okay. So now we have gone into the Olympics. How did you feel when you first step on such a huge stage?
I never actually swam in Olympics. I qualified,
Okay.
but I didn't actually go there and swim it.
Oh, okay. You didn't manage to participate.
No, I actually had a very bad shoulder injury.
Oh,
so
dear.
as a child, my coach asked us to prepare this one sheet, and it's a goal sheet, and basically say, what is your immediate goal, what is your long-term goal, and what's your ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal was to qualify for Olympics. And the time that I did qualify for the Olympics, I felt like I have achieved my athletic career. I've achieved it because that was the ultimate goal. And so when I qualified, that was sufficient for me. And I felt like, okay, I have a massive shoulder injury and I didn't need to actually swim in Olympics.
Oh, okay. So I mean, is your shoulder better, or what do you need to do for it?
Well, I was told that I'll never swim again.
Okay, but I mean, you're swimming now, right?
I am, I know.
So yeah, by the way, she also teaches swimming in the condominiums in people's houses. So if you'd like to reach out to her, she'll be more than happy to actually teach your children as well. So can you tell us a little bit about this teaching career in swimming? I mean, obviously it's out of passion as well.
Yes, absolutely,
Right?
yeah.
So why did you continue to do it? I mean, there are so many other jobs that you could do as well, but why teaching music?
I think the first thing that led me into coaching is because of my son. My eldest son is a swimmer, and
okay.
being a mom and a swimmer myself, I felt like it's just something that I needed to do. I needed to teach him how to swim, and so I equipped him with the knowledge, and he became very good very quickly. And then it was just convenient because swimming pool's downstairs and mommy's got the time, so I spent an hour with him every day, and before I knew it, he was top in the country for his age.
Whoa, okay.
And then he needed friends and buddies to swim with, so just get a couple of friends to swim together, and before I knew it, we have a small group going on.
So then you started continuing.
Yep. So we
to
have
teach and all that.
we have a
Okay.
small group.
That's good.
Yeah, swimming
good.
buddies.
Okay.
So we just found out in our small little group. We just found out that there are 4 of them that were selected into the
Wow.
state team.
Okay.
The selection was just made last week.
Oh, congratulations for those. I'm sure some of them are watching right now. So congratulations to those who have qualified to represent the state, and kudos to you guys. All right. So now, I'm sure when you taught your child swimming, it's also to not only to join competition, but also to live a healthy life, to actually also to make sure that if anything happens, he's able to swim.
Yes, that was the
in
first.
sea.
That was
So,
my first concern.
How important is that as ex-national swimmer? How important is swimming to
Oh my
people?
gosh, this question, it's a no-brainer if you ask me. Every single child deserves to know how to swim. It is not swimming itself, but it is a gift.
Okay.
Any parent can give to their child. This is a gift of safety. We are surrounded by water. Every single resort that you go to is water. Your
Yep.
parents, you go
Yep.
for vacation on the beach, and then if you stay in a nice resort, there's a swimming pool, and if you go to some nature resort, that's the river. Everything, it revolves around bodies of water, and I think this is just a gift that you can give your child to learn how to swim. I mean, you don't have to go to competitive swimming, that's a whole different
Yep,
thing,
yep.
but just being water safe, water confidence, and being able to maneuver. So many deaths could have been avoided every year. I think 700 over children in Malaysia.
Wow.
Malaysia alone dies, drowned.
Oh.
Under the
okay.
age of 18, 700 over
Oh, that's
every
a
year.
lot.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
a
very
lot.
high number. So, I mean, these deaths could have been prevented.
Okay.
These are
okay.
definitely, it's not like, a car accident or whatever accident. This is drowning cases, 100%
I
preventable.
guess the Western countries are doing much better. Countries like
Australia.
Australia, yeah.
Yeah, compulsory. It's mandatory.
Yep,
Every
yep.
single child needs to know how to swim. I think Sweden as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they mandate
Okay.
a child about the age of whatever age they need to swim however many meters. So
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's not just being able to crawl. You gotta actually be able to swim like certain number of meters.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yes, if you love to take classes, I mean, you can reach out to Cindy, and obviously it is a very important skill. And she used the word deserve. Every child deserves to learn how to swim. But today it's not just about Cindy, alone about her past, but also what she is actually advocating for. And that's the reason why we are having this particular conversation. Now, we know that your past was also something of, also built your passion for something else, not only swimming, but also something that is very, very close to your heart, and that's sexual harassment in sports.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, the question that a lot of people ask is, number one, why did you get involved in this in the first place? I mean, it is something which is, number one, not very well known to many people.
Yeah.
So, do you mind sharing your
Okay,
experience?
so, well, I was a victim of sexual harassment when I was very young and as a teenager, and I didn't tell a lot of people about this, but when I did tell a friend of mine last year, she is a freelance journalist, and so she said, you know what, why don't we get your story out? And I was like, yeah, it's been like so many years, and it's a he say, she says kind of thing. And then she said, no, you know what? We really got to push your story because Ain Husniza came up with this, and this is like really hot, and you should just go out there. And so she tried, this friend of mine, she tried reaching out to 5 different media outlets
Wow.
locally.
Okay.
And all 5 rejected me. One
Okay.
of them, I mean, these are mainstream media. These are not like small ones. They're not tabloid or these are like the mainstream media. 5 of them all rejected, and one of them came back to me and said that in Malay, you tak nak buat report police, tapi you nak bising apa, jangan contact. So I actually got scolded for this.
Wow.
And finally, one media decided to take the story, and it was extremely painful. I still recall the first time I had that conversation with Malaysia Kini. They were the first one who picked up on the story, and we really had to strategize on how to report it without defamation, and we had to. I mean, it was very painful. The interview took 2 hours.
Okay.
Just because, it's been so long ago, a lot of memories were suppressed, and I
Yeah.
had to bring it back up, and it was just very, very painful to talk about it. But today you can ask me any questions and I'll answer.
So how many years was that? How many years?
99.
before then? 99.
Yeah.
So you've been pushing this since 1999.
No, I mean, this happened in 99.
Or the incident? that
Yes.
happened in 99. So when you talked to Malaysian Kini, when was
Last year.
Last year. Okay, so it's very, very recent. And for those who like to, has the same passion like Cindy, I think you guys can sit down and talk about it, and definitely will reach out. So in terms of this passion that you have about sexual harassment in the sports, how, well, lack for a better word, how bad is it in sports?
Oh, well, I think it is. I think a lot of people regard sports as something very clean, and they people might think that these kind of issues happen in workplace, corporate, in the entertainment industry, in modeling industry, in school. But the last thing people think of is that this happens in the sports industry, because they think of sports as something that is, wow, very holistic and meritocracy and all of that. So the last thing people think of is sports. And so your question on how prevalent is sexual harassment, I can't really speak on behalf of all those who never spoke up, because I will never know how many people got it on official numbers. But unofficially, I mean, just through friends, it's just as common as any other place.
So it's just very rampant, is it?
I would
say
say,
so.
I would say so. It's just that it is unspoken because of the ramifications that that comes along with speaking up. So a lot of times it happens in like superior, in your superior, like coaches and athlete, or like team manager or chaperone, or a senior member of the team, or just someone with power over you that could hold it against you if you spoke up. So just things along those lines. And it's
I mean, in the States, they also had a case, right?
Larry Nassar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And also, and in the States, they I think it was gymnastics.
Yes, Larry Nassar.
Gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
So gymnastics, also, I mean, in the States, it was a big thing.
Big, yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
covered all over the
Yeah.
news. However, as a victim, I mean, like for a better
Yeah.
word, victim, what was going through your mind when you actually shared with Malaysia Kini? I mean, I know it's years before you shared it, but what was going through your mind when you were sharing it during the 2 hours?
I think it was very difficult to talk about it. One is the recollection of the suppressed memories. Two, then the questions that were being thrown at me actually made me think. And the most common question, I'm not sure if you would ask me this, but the most common question that was thrown at me, every single media, everybody who interviewed me asked me these questions: why now? Why didn't you bring this up 20 years ago when it happened? Why now? So my answer is always going to be the same. And the first time this question was thrown at me, I really had to dig deep. Why now? But now it's very clear to me. Why now? 20 years ago, let's rewind back our memories to 1999. This was before Y2K, right? 1999. Those of you who are, from that generation. No Facebook, no Instagram, no talk show like this, unless you're hyper famous. Yeah. So where's the platform? As a kid, as a teenager, from Ipoh, small town girl, probably no cell phone.
Yep.
Yeah. You have landline that you have to dial, like dial one, and then you dial again, let it wait, and you dial again, you dial one wrong number, you gotta hang up and dial again, and your internet is jarring, and you're making all. There's no platform. Number one. Absolutely no platform to talk about. Number two, this issue is a taboo anyways. So you rewind back to 1999, it's something that your parents don't talk to you about. I don't know, my parents never talked to me about this. I never knew what sexual harassment was. I mean, it just felt like it was not right, but I felt like, okay, this guy's a perv. And then I talked to my friends, and they're like, yeah, he did this to me too, and he did this, and he did this, and he did this. So we're like, yeah, don't go near that guy because he's a perv. And that's all I know, because I was not aware that, yes, this constitutes sexual harassment, and yes, this is not right, and yes, you have the right to report. So that's the second thing, that this issue was indeed taboo, is not spoken of, is not brought up at home, is not brought up in school, and not brought up in society. And there was just no way that any child could know any better. And I think that was huge for me. That one, there's no platform. Two, it's just socially taboo. And three, there's always the threat that this person has power over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was in the national team. Who would believe me?
Okay. Well, it's good that you're coming out right now. I mean, that gives a voice to a lot of other people. I'm sure that sexual harassment is not just merely for women. I'm sure
Oh,
that
yes,
men
yes.
has obviously got it as well.
Yes. So when my story first came out, within a couple of days, I received a message, and this message was actually from a man.
Wow. Okay.
More than a decade older than myself.
Okay.
And immediately when he read my story on Malaysia Kini, he then asked me if it was this person.
Yeah. And it's the same person.
It is the same perpetrator who did it to me, who did it to him
Wow.
more than a decade ago before it happened to me.
Okay.
And then, as we talked further, and I mean, this is male. And his story came out as well on a few media.
yeah.
So, we know that this person, just like Larry Nassar, has harassed so many other individuals.
Wow.
Yeah, but most of them are still not ready to talk about it now. Most of them.
I'll come to that question. Yeah, I wouldn't say it because if I ask the question, she's going to answer it. Okay, so now with what has transpired through Malaysian Kini, right? From what I understand from the articles, you're also pushing it to be discussed in Parliament, which is like it's going to be there for everybody to see. Before I talk about what's transpiring in Parliament, how do you feel about this? Now it's wide open, and now Parliament's involved.
When I first spoke about it, I really didn't know the magnitude of this. It's like when 9/11 happened, and you saw one news, and I remember that I was getting a treatment for one of I was getting a treatment, and I saw the news 9/11, and just it's something that happens, a tragedy, but you don't know the magnitude of it until it's like, okay, now CNN is every single news, and it's all over, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is huge. So when I first talked about it, I didn't actually anticipate the magnitude that it would garner. And so what was your question again?
so now, how did you
about
feel?
Parliament,
Yes.
right?
And how did you feel about it now it's going to Parliament?
So like I said, because I never anticipated it to be that huge, all I wanted was just to be the catalyst for change. That's all. All I wanted. I mean, even when other media outlet, the second round of interview, they're like, okay, how do you want to bring this forward? Because I'm not a politician with no aspirations to be a politician.
Okay. You never know, but it's all right. Okay.
No, so I just wanted to be like a voice and use myself as a platform to help other people, be heard. And I just wanted to be that catalyst for change. That's all. Yeah. And
but
I
now,
think
but now
I
you're
think
the face of this. I mean, your name is everywhere in the tabloids when it comes to sexual harassment in sports.
Yeah, so I think my goal is I've achieved, because it's they're using my name as an example for change, to call for change in the Parliament. They're using my story as to call for change. So I think that has
Okay, so I guess people are going to ask. People are thinking like, now it's in Parliament, since I would use the word Parliament. So what is it that you are trying to push for in Parliament?
Well, very obvious, the sexual harassment bill that's been ongoing. So right now, I think they are in the final stages of tweaking and a little bit on. I'm also trying to talk to them about. Did you guys know that there is no such thing as an anti-stalking law in Malaysia?
Oh, none whatsoever.
We do not have
I always thought we did.
anti-stalking laws. So if let's say you go out and somebody puts an audio recording device, drops it into your bag,
Yep.
and you go around and you start
Recording everybody.
recording your conversation, your PIN number, whatever, and stole all your money. Of course, stealing the money is wrong, but you cannot charge this person.
For that particular act.
Anti-stalking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, or you know, or a GPS has been plugged onto your car. That's not wrong in Malaysia.
Wow. Okay. So
So in Malaysia, there's no such thing as anti-stalking law. So, but there were cases of people where, you know, like ex-lovers were killed, stalked and killed for you know,
whatever
revenge
reason,
for
yeah.
whatever reasons,
Yeah.
and this is apparently not wrong.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting.
so anti-stalking should actually fall under the whole umbrella of you know, sexual harassment, because it's not sexual harassment per se, but it is harassment.
Yeah.
That can turn into assault, that can turn into a lot of other things.
Okay.
So it should fall under the broader spectrum, and that's something that should be definitely be looked into. So if any one of you listening and you can make a change, please do.
So when you talk about sexual harassment, the bill of sexual harassment, you're not only referring to sports, but you're referring to the generic of sexual harassment that is for everyone,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that is also what you're pushing for.
Yes. Yes.
Ah, okay. So if for those who like to, you know, back you up or get involved in this particular bill, or to even sponsor the bill, right? That's what people use. How would people get involved if they really want to help you in this area?
They can get in touch with me.
They can get in
Yeah,
touch.
get
with
in
you.
touch.
All right. So for those who are watching, if you are really, really interested in, you know, supporting Cindy Ong, well, she has her own Facebook, and definitely you can go and find her, and you can actually connect with her and see what you can do as Malaysians, okay? Not just as a community, but as Malaysians, to actually also help the community, our society, in terms of sexual harassment, not just in sports,
Yes,
but
so-
also in every aspect.
Yes,
yeah.
so that we can actually progress and be a more progressive nation, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to what we are discussing here. If you are just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, we are with Cindy Ong, and she's been talking about sexual harassment in sports. But now we actually have moved on to sexual harassment in general. And if you have any stories that you would like to share, you can actually share at our chat box at the bottom, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you as well. And if you'd like to reach out to Cindy Ong, you can go ahead. For those also who just joined us, she is our ex-national swimmer, and definitely if you Google her, her titles are everywhere, okay? You don't need to worry about that as well. You can find it all there. All right, so what do you, back to sexual harassment, what are you hoping to achieve through this bill? I mean, of course, to pass the bill, but what as a personally, what are you trying to achieve?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think for many victims or, you know, survivors, because when you talk about sexual harassment, the umbrella is so broad. It
Yeah,
can be,
yeah.
there can be so many acts, right? And so like, you know, gender violence, crime, it all falls under the same umbrella. And so let's say the top of the line, way at the top, the most satisfying, gratifying thing that any victims or survivors would want to see is to bring the perpetrators to justice.
Correct.
You know, that is the most satisfying. And hence, I think just myself and on behalf of, you know, so many other survivors out there, this is the ideal outcome. And, you know, there can be maybe other possible outcomes, but the ideal outcome is what we're trying to get as close to as possible. And even if perpetrators don't, you know, get sent behind bars, but they get what they deserve,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So now back to the bill again. The bill that you are pushing for. What are the challenges that you are facing right now? I mean, you say they are retweaking it again. Okay, that's one challenge.
okay, yeah, it gets a little political.
Get political.
It gets a little
Okay. So basically, it's
political.
also the parties are involved as well.
Yes,
I
yes,
see.
but
Okay.
it is bipartisan. I mean, it's everybody agrees that yes, this bill should be tabled.
Okay.
Everybody. I mean, there's no
Alright.
like which party says yes, which party says everybody. But it is just the details,
Yep.
you know, that that's being tweaked and argued
So are
about.
you involved personally?
No.
No.
No. I'm not in parliament.
You're not in, yeah, but I mean, do they consult you in any
Yes.
way?
Yes,
They
some of
do.
them, yeah.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so that's what she is doing at the moment. Now, you mentioned also just now that the that as to bring these people to justice, of course, the bill has to be passed. Now, as a victim, what can a victim do to actually, you know, how to say, identify the person, or is there any way to you know, say, okay, I have actually been going through this with this particular person. So what do they need to do? What do they need to have or say or anything?
I think the number one thing is awareness. They
Okay.
need to know that yes, this is sexual harassment that's happening to me.
Okay.
That's like the way at the top, because I was not aware. I was, but I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, yes, this is happening to me and it's very uncomfortable. But at the same time, you don't make that connection that I need to report this. You know, there's no connection. It was disconnected. So I think a lot of girls out there are right now, as we speak, a lot of girls out there, all boys, young boys, exactly in the same position that I was in. You know, they feel very uncomfortable. They know that this is not right, but you don't dare to tell mommy or daddy because they're probably going to victim blame you. Your friends are probably going to victim shame you. Oh, you asked for it. Oh, why you wear that skirt so short? Why you wear that dress like that? You know, you asked for it. Oh, I thought you guys were dating. Or, oh, he was interested in you. And, you know, all that kind of victim blaming and shaming. So, number one, you need to be aware.
Okay, let's talk about awareness. Let's deep dive into this. You talk about awareness. I'm sure there are some. I mean, there are actions which are very. Well, we know that sexual harassment, right? Definitely, certain parts of the body that you don't touch is a no-no, right? How about things like very gray areas? Is there any gray area, or
I think the gray
certain
area. I think the gray area is very large.
Okay.
It's very large, so it's you know, circumstantial.
Okay.
So whether you know the person is in a relationship there's consent, and so these are the kind of things that needs to be taught from a young age.
Okay.
You know, so there's like books that I read to my kids to teach them like good touch, bad touch, by whom is acceptable, and you know, just that kind of awareness. I think it's a
Okay, but I mean, there's going to be a bit more discussion about this, but say for example, if a person is offended, like say for example, I touch a person's head, and the person feels that he's been harassed, would that constitute sexual harassment because he feels that he's been harassed, or?
That's a very good question. I'm not the right person to.
Okay.
I don't think I'm the right person to
Okay.
to ask what would constitute
Okay.
sexual harassment.
But in the bill, it would be stated, right? In the bill, would it be stated, or?
Probably will need to be included.
Included.
Yeah, it
Okay.
probably will need to be included.
Yeah, definitely. So if anyone, if you have, you know, an answer to this, I mean, any doctors or any lawyers, for example, if you'd like to give us your input, please do write at the comment section. We would love to have a discussion. And it will be open to everybody. I mean, we can even talk to Cindy and ask her about her life story and how you yourself, if you are a victim, you can also reach out to us as well, okay?
Yes, and to all victims, yeah, please do get help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely do help. So, victims, since we're getting into that, how can a victim, I mean, you talked about awareness just now, then how can a victim really come out and, you know, say, hey, I mean, I know it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of strength, it takes a lot of guts to do that, because
Yeah.
it's not only telling the person off, but it's also you yourself going out and telling everybody about it. So how can the person take the first step? You said awareness was one of them. How about the next step?
Well, after you're aware, then you want to go and seek help.
Yeah.
So, without the awareness, then a lot of people just, you know, they want to keep it inside, they want to suppress. So with the awareness, they know, okay, this is sexual harassment. I have identified the problem. Now, the next step is I want to seek help. And when you decide at that moment that you want to seek help, then there's so many options out there. Befrienders, Awam, WCC, all these different NGOs and readily available. And we've got Talian Kasih and Talian Noor. There are just
Tons
and tons of platform. The police, they are great. You know, Bukit Aman, they have a special division to
Wow.
handle this
Okay.
this case, and they even have like shelter homes if you need shelter from abusive cases. You know, so it's great. The system in Malaysia, it's actually all been put in place and it's very efficient.
Okay, all right. So, well, she gave you a few examples of what you could do. You can reach out to a lot of other platforms, but if you do not know what to do or who to reach out to, I guess the best is to just go to the police and they'll be more than happy to help you.
Yep, or they can reach out to me and I can redirect you and advise or recommend which platform to go to, because
Okay.
different
Yeah.
different NGOs might handle different things.
Differently. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, go and reach out to them, and definitely they'll be more than happy to help you.
Yeah, but
Especially the victims.
but the
yeah.
decision needs to come from the victim and
Yeah.
not forced. Yeah. So number one, they need to identify, yes, there's a problem. Number two, I need help.
Mm.
Whatever help it may be, immediate medical attention. Then obviously you go to the emergency department, or if it's psychological help, any form of help at all.
Yeah, yeah. So, talking about the victims as well, I mean, a lot of victims that you mentioned just now, you said a few times this, you mentioned this word a few times, suppress. When a victim suppresses such an experience, right?
I see where this is going.
How, how much toll does it take on you as a person, as a victim? Because I'm not the victim, so I can't say any much. But as a victim, I mean, you've seen some other friends as well. How much toll does it take on a person?
And this kind of toll that you're talking about
Yeah.
is invisible. Yeah, it's invisible. Other people will not see it, will not feel it, will not know it for the longest time, because this happens in the subconscious. So at least for me, and at least for a couple of my friends that I spoke to, this is just on a subconscious level. So for myself, and I'm going to share this very openly. I hope you guys do not feel offended by what I'm about to share. So I was harassed, on top by my chest, and so for the longest time, until today, anybody's hand that comes close to my chest, it's a natural reaction for me to block it off, and it's been like 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just natural, or I would do this, or I would just,
To protect.
yeah. So, but it's a natural thing.
Yeah.
I don't even think about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But for a victim, I mean, not you per se, but in anybody that you have seen, have you seen them, they themselves, they shut down?
Yes.
They
Yes.
disassociate themselves
Yes,
from society?
yes.
So,
Yes, I've seen this girl who was attempted gang rape, kidnapped and attempted gang raped, and she escaped. And no trust in men. And I mean, the psychological trauma is, I don't think it's gonna go away.
Okay.
Or some girls who are sexual harassed when they're young, they grow up and they become extremely promiscuous. So, a lot of things can happen. And this is usually invisible. You don't really feel it. You just kind of attribute it to, she's not right. And yeah, but usually something happened and it needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Yeah, things
Okay.
like insomnia, or you feel sick, or there's trigger and then you feel sick. It can happen. A lot of things. I mean, the range is so wide that I can't even start to pinpoint. If I start to pinpoint, then people are gonna just think that it's one thing. No, but it's huge.
Yeah, I think we'll need another talk show when you talk about victims. So I think we shall just move on and talk about ourselves. If we come across a victim,
Yes.
if we come across a person that has gone through sexual harassment, not only in sports but in general,
Yes.
what should we do?
Be
I mean, besides judging them, of course. We should
be
not judge
a
them.
good listening ear. That's all.
Okay.
Don't judge.
Yep.
Absolutely no judgment.
Yep.
No victim blaming, shaming. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But absolutely no judgment. So be a very, very good listening ear, and offer help, but don't push for it. Because sometimes victims, all they want to do, the kind of help that they need might
Yeah.
just be talking to you. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
just want to talk to you. And that's all the help. That's the therapy already.
Okay.
That's their therapeutic session. That's it. They just need to get it out of the system. And that's it. So you can offer help or redirect to whichever NGOs, but don't push, because sometimes, if the victim is not ready, then you definitely don't push. So number one, always just be a very good friend.
Yeah.
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 And then don't judge, and promise to just keep everything that's being told to you, because you're trusted. Keep it confidential.
Then where do we actually have to take, I guess, a very aggressive action to make sure that, I mean, you mentioned just now that
Okay,
it's
when
suicidal and-
safety is concerned,
Yeah.
when you know that safety is concerned. Okay, so for example,
Mm-hmm.
let's say just a very general. I give you a scenario. So if someone's walking in a car park and gets slapped from the rear, that's sexual harassment, right?
Yep.
It's unwanted, not solicited. She didn't ask for it, and just get slapped from the back, and she might feel to a guy like, okay, it's funny. To a girl, no, she's gonna remember this incident for the next 20 years, 30 years, gonna carry it to the grave. It's very serious.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because like I didn't ask for it, and all of a sudden he just, it's actually the impact is beyond that one moment. And she will remember this and tell this story for a long time. So for something like that, maybe you just need a friend to talk to, and hopefully this doesn't go into a downward spiral. Oh, I'm worthless, and I don't know why he touched me out of so many people. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't go down that path. And I definitely don't want to categorize this as something that's not serious. But in comparison, okay, to contrast, if say someone was raped, forcefully or kidnapped and raped, like in a case of my friend, she was kidnapped and attempted gang rape, and then she fled successfully, actually. And then she ran, to like I think 2 kilometers and found a house.
Wow.
Yeah, because she was actually taken away. She was kidnapped and taken away. So in cases like that, and you think that this person might go in a downward spiral, so promise to keep it confidential. But at the same time, I think because she confided in you, you need to actually keep it very, very confidential. But on the back end, you have to offer assistance. And if you do feel like she's suicidal, then steps definitely need to be taken on a more aggressive level.
That was the question. I mean, when do we know?
Red flags. Red flags.
When do we know to take that aggressive step?
Yeah, I guess when the safety, when the life is
When
someone's
suicidal,
or some people. I mean, this usually in girls it manifests in a more close. The girls just apply. They block themselves out. But in men, it can. I'm not saying it will, but it can manifest differently. I mean, some of them can turn violent. Or any form of abuse or bullying behavior because they were bullied, so they want to be an even bigger bully so that other people don't bully them. So when the safety of either the victim is concerned or the safety of other people may be of concern, because if a guy is bullied, then he might want to bully other people, and he might be a nuisance to others.
Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost coming to the end of our session this evening. It has been a very, very interesting topic that we're talking about. And of course, for those who like to support the bill that Cindy is actually pushing for and also helping out, yes, you can actually contact her, and also for our victims as well. We really, really have a heartfelt for all of you. That's the reason why we're having talks like this, where we can actually reach out to you if you're watching this, or even you have friends or family members who have gone through sexual harassment and need someone to, like what she mentioned, no judgment, just listening ear. And definitely you can actually reach out to Cindy or even go to the police. That would be a good action for all of us. All right, so maybe some last words from Cindy before we end, because we don't have any questions. So would you like to say something to our viewers, whether they are victims or the community, or they're going through the same thing?
I be more compassionate, and to victims, I think the best thing you can do is to seek help. You never know the kind of help and support that you get, where that can lead you, and how much difference that can make. So to victims, do seek help, because help is there. There's just so many organizations that doors are open and willing to help, as long as victims say, yes, I need help. That's it. That's the acknowledgement. So to victims, to everybody else, and just be more compassionate.
All right, so that was the last words from Cindy, and I'm very, very grateful for her taking her time. Oh, by the way, we were supposed to do it like 2 weeks ago, but She has braved through COVID and she's here with us. So thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you so much for inviting,
So
Joshua.
yes, guys, if you'd like to reach out to Cindy, you can actually find her on Facebook, and of course, you can also find her in social media, and you can also connect with her if you like to be part of this particular movement, which is the sexual harassment, not only in sports but also generally as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Heart to Heart Talk, thank you very much, Cindy, and thank you everybody who is watching. My name is Joshua, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.